Hi there, I'm Revis, and today I have another long video for you all. It's a parts of a VOD where I went over my tournament games from the Best of the Besties, which was a tournament hosted by KM Best a little over a week ago. I was a little bit on the fence on whether to post these or not, but a frequent question I do get is what do I think is the best Thanos list and like how do you play it, right? Like Thanos is not that easy to play, and this 2 hours plus content I think does a good job of showing a few different matchups. Really delves into the Shuri matchup. That is what I got dealt the hand with 4 out of my 6 games, and I think it's really informative if you're interested into delving deeper into Thanos. You can hear my thought process as well as some other high level players who were chatting with me in chat. So I talk about like what I was doing and then what I should have been done instead, or when situations were 50-50s. So I think it's some really good long form content. Otherwise, I do think that the Killmonger Deathwave Thanos is the strongest version right now. It does feel bad to run Juggernaut over Kitty Pryde, who's currently disabled. That would probably be the first thing I swap. Otherwise, there are a few different tech slots. It feels weird not to have Travis. It's possible that it's better to have Travis in like the Leech or the She-Hulk. But this is the list I ran for the tournament. I think it's still very good. And otherwise, I'll let you all enjoy. In a tournament, you have to bring the best deck if you want to go all the way, or you have to bring something that beats the best deck, right? Every time. And I don't have Valkyrie, so I can't beat. Like that was my thing. I was like, I'm gonna lose to Shuri, but I can beat everything else, and that's what I did. But everyone was Shuri. So, like, I didn't want to take something super. Like, it's not unwinnable, right? And you'll see. Like, I definitely made some mistakes where I could have won. But yeah, the first matchup that I had was versus Reigns. He only used Falcon in the second to last match. Yeah. The first matchup I had versus Reigns, he's running the same deck as I was, except he's running Kang and Valkyrie over Leech and Juggernaut, I believe. I don't really remember at the top. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. There's some confusion at the beginning about the matchups. But yeah, here we go. This was a fun one. Yeah, I'll just jump right into it. Let me know if there's any issues with audio and stuff, because it's a little bit of a different setup because it's not a live game. Right. So here I was already thinking to snap because of Mind Stone and Lockjaw. I wasn't 100% sure. I also was not sure whether or not to Time Stone, but I'm pretty sure in the mirror I don't need to Time Stone that early. I'll probably Time Stone this turn. Yeah, I'm making that comment right here. Feels so good collecting Galactus Profits, yeah. Like, so personally, I think I'm favored in the mirror here because I have the Leech and the Valkyrie doesn't do too much unless I like purposely, like, unless I get a Lockjaw lane where I throw out like Death and She-Hulk and stuff, right? It can shrink those. But in general, She-Hulk and Death come out on the last turn, and I can also stack them in a Soulstone lane if I needed to. So here you're seeing I'm trying to think about the Soulstone and Shuri Slab, because if he Valk Shuri Slab, then Soulstone is still fine, right? But he ends up Reality Stoning Shuri Slab. We got 2 games to 40 powers to do this. Yo. Dude, I love the Shuri Slab with yeah, so here I'm gonna snap for the Lockjaw, right? Because he didn't play a stone on 1 and he followed up with Reality Stone. So it's like his hand is super weak, right? If you don't have stones early on, you're pretty weak generally. If he stays, I'm assuming he has Lockjaw. But he retreats. Smart retreat here. Yeah, Reigns, you can fill in whenever, like, if you remember the games. I actually don't remember too many of the games from early on. So I'm kind of assuming some things about it. Oh, you did? I think I saw someone Senpai DM me, but I didn't respond. Sorry about that. Thank you, though. Are you sure, mate? Yeah, this is the first time you'll see this footage. This is my my POV, and I didn't get streamed at all on the broadcast because I can't record and do the whatever you call it, Discord thing, or they changed it to some like weird OBS thing, yeah, and I can't do the OBS thing and record. So yeah, first time footage. Did I change my title, by the way? Yeah, okay. I should change it, say my Besties games reviews. Right. You just remember messing up? Okay, so here, he snaps me, right? If I remember correctly, on the Oscorp tower. Yeah. I have Lockjaw, so I'm definitely not leaving, and I have Space Stone. I actually don't think about the fill though, which is funny enough. I'm not thinking about him filling. Right, because we're both playing Killmonger decks. So you did OBS and Discord streaming, yeah, the quality was bad, yeah. Well, the thing is, they apparently the Discord broke, so they were doing OBS, and I would have to try and do OBS at the same time. Okay, so here I'm really confused because yes, he went left, but we both run Killmonger. So, but like then I'm thinking if he doesn't play Killmonger, I don't have it in my hand. So I'm trying to flip into Lockjaw here. So here I'm like, I might need the extra Lockjaw rolls in Jotunheim. So I'm not really sure what's the best way to go about here. So you can see me move around the Space Stone a lot. I didn't finish doing these things. Hold on. You might see me just not be on the screen for a second. Okay, but yeah, so now I'm thinking like whether or not I should move Lockjaw or just something else, right? Because I don't have Killmonger, so unless I flip into it this turn, I'm losing out on left side, right? I actually don't remember what I ended up doing here. I think I ended up giving up on left. Yeah, and I just Shawn the Thanos and say that I'm going to win that side because his Lockjaw pulls aren't going to be good enough. And then he ends up putting more power into Oscorp. I assume this was because he thought I was going to move the Soul Stone off. Or move a stone off and try and fight for it. Okay, Nidavellir here was a huge roll. Because everything I have there is under Shang-Chi range. But also, yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. It's all under Shang-Chi range. And he used up most of his stones, so he can't really fill the Nidavellir. So I'm thinking about Shadowland here. And I think for a while, because I'm thinking that he's going to Valkyrie into the Lockjaw, right? If he Valkyries into the Lockjaw, then whatever pops out could be bigger than the 3 power, right? So I'm pretty sure I end up roping out a little bit here, trying to figure out a way to beat the Valkyrie, because I have priority. This was open deck list, yeah. Yeah, he's running the same list as I am, except no Leech, no Juggernaut, and instead Valkyrie and Kang, if I remember correctly. So yeah, here I almost retreat. Oh, I do retreat. Yeah, I retreat here because I'm afraid of Valkyrie. Oop. I also just lose if he outpowers me in the Lockjaw lane, right? How's snapping? Good. We're going over the games I did today. I played out the Besties tournament. None of my games are streamed. I did record them all, so we're just going through them. But yeah, here I retreat because of the Valkyrie. Because he did play out a bunch of stones, right? So it's pretty likely. I could also lose to their Shang. Right, and if they flip into something, so I take the 2 cubes here. You have 55, nice Spooter Doodle. But yeah, this is not actually live. I'm actually covering my live cam right now. But there's no reason you guys need to see me so early in the morning. I look like out of it. All right, here we get District X on turn 1. So I'm already thinking like I have Wave, Shang, and Arrow. It's pretty good. But like, can you ever snap a District X game? I feel comfortable in this matchup. But yeah, I'm not sure. Electro Galactus, yeah. I mean, that will do it. That will do it, yeah. Here I play Ghost because I'm like, he's running a Valkyrie deck. Ghost sounds pretty good here, right? Always flips up last. I can Sean too. But like, I have no idea what's in his hand, right? If he has some good top end, if I don't draw like a reasonable 5-drop, or what I really wanted here was a way into Morag, because then I could wave on the last turn or 5th turn, and then they wouldn't be able to get into Morag, right? But I think I end up not getting anything to get into Morag. Yeah, they end up waving me. And my hand sucks. I'm thinking like, oh, maybe Darkhawk, but then I realized, oh, like all the Thanos stuff is gone, so it's a pretty small Darkhawk, right? And he snaps me, and so I'm like, oh, the snap probably means Doctor Doom. It was Doom, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, can I beat Doctor Doom? And I said, no, I believe in retreat. Because now I can't get into Morag with something big enough to beat it. So yeah. But yeah, District X. Yeah, I think my big thing too is I was like, District X game, I can't lose a lot of cubes. You had Odin too, yeah. So there's no way I'm winning, right? Look at my hand. But yeah, I was at the end of the day, I was like, District X is not worth losing games. I feel confident in the matchup. Like if it was high stakes, I'd probably stay. But yeah, you had Doom and Odin. Yeah, no way. So definitely a good 1 cube retreat then, right? All right, here my hand's pretty good. Do I snap here? I don't know. I think I don't snap because I don't have Lockjaw, right? So he doesn't play anything on 1. Yeah, we got matched up the first game, yeah. With a mirror match, yeah. So here I'm like, is Reality and X-Mansion good because I feel like our hand is good? Right? If I get rid of some of the variability there. And here we yoink the death. This is huge because that was the main thing kind of missing in my hand, was a way to set up like a future wave turn, right? So yeah, we set up a Killmonger here. You only need to kill 4 stones to activate death with the wave. So it's already a good spot. He has Prio too. So if he plays more stones, yeah, flexes reigns, yeah. If he plays more stones, we end up way ahead, right? And I believe we actually end up with an empty board besides the Killmonger, right? Yeah. One other thing to keep in mind, I know he has death, right? So this does help him as well. Oh no, they end up Killmonger first, yeah, I remember. 40 plus, yeah. We do some climbing here sometimes. Right now we're reviewing our tournament games. Yeah, so now I'm like, oh, my hand sucks. I have Juggernaut and Shang. Not really the best 2 cards. But yeah, I just end up playing out Juggernaut for tempo on Sandar. Am I a whale? No. I'm like collection level 5,000. I spend like on some stuff. But not that much. I don't buy everything. I think I would classify dolphin spending, I guess. So here he takes Prio, not really the worst thing. I think I just end up playing out Death for stats. I can't believe I took your Death, yeah. Here I was thinking a little bit about whether or not I should hold the Death in case he waves me. But yeah, I'm pretty indecisive here. Because I do have Shang for his Death. So I'm actually not sure what I do here. Yeah, I end up retreating. Because I know he has Death, and I don't really have any follow-up. He has... Oh, okay. I actually also counted my health. That was a free retreat as well. So in battle mode, since we're going into high stakes, when I'm at 7 health, that's the same as being at 6 health. So I retreated there because I thought I was unfavored, right? And it's better. So either way, I have 3 losses left. So that's why I retreated there. And here, okay, so now he snaps me, and I'm deciding that I'm too far behind to leave on a turn 1 snap, right? I have a reasonable enough hand. If we win X Mansion, we're in a huge advantage, right? So I assume he's time stoning out the lockjaw, which is a little bit scary. But drawing the wave here is really nice. But yeah, here I'm like, do I play Time Stone or do I save it for next turn and leech? I'm trying to think like what he has, and I'm like, he has Death, Doom, Odin stuff. It's really worth it to get the leech off because it's like a lot of combo stuff, right? But then I draw the lockjaw, and I'm like, oof, what am I doing now? Just try and high roll the lockjaw, right? That's the move. Oh yeah, he's running Psylocke as well. I forgot about that. Okay, flipping up the Death honestly is not terrible for me. But the Doom, then I'm like, yo, what is going on, man? Just getting absolutely high rolled out the lockjaw. He gets Mojo, we get Spectrum. Not the best. It's really just a 5-5 because we both run Killmonger. But yeah, here I'm like, he hit the nuts. I'm gonna have to hit something similar, right? So, but like I'm already in for 4 cubes, so. But yeah, I literally say it, I'm in a rough spot. But yeah, then you mess up. I don't know what you had, so it's possible. But yeah, basically here I'm just playing. I'm like, I have Shang in my deck. I also have Doctor Doom and stuff. Like, it's not the worst. Oh yeah, he plays Kang here. And I'm like, oh, this is really good for me. This lets me know what my lockjaw rules are. So whether or not I should put effort into the lockjaw lane. And I'm like, wait, Doctor Doom. Ooh, that's pretty good. Could have Valk mid and Stone. Oh, okay. I have to see the last outcome. But yeah, here I'm like, ooh, that's crazy. Okay, so I'm like, he's definitely not going to shuffle into the lockjaw without drawing a stone first, right? So if you draw, your deck order changes. And since he knows that I'm getting a Shang-Chi out, right? Because I'm not going to change my order. I want Doctor Doom and Shang-Chi mid, right? He already has a death there. So I'm like, I'm always putting it in the same order. But I'm like, he's definitely going to put in a different order so he doesn't lose She-Hulk as well, right? So I believe he ends up playing a stone and then shuffling to lockjaw, which changes the order. So yeah. Or yeah, if you just put a stone into lockjaw, it's the same thing. Yeah, he ends up shanging and then playing stone into lockjaw. Yeah. And then it pulls Killmonger, and yeah, it just puts us kind of in a weird situation. But here I'm like, if I wave, if I get death, then I can wave. It's really good. But yeah, here I get the same outcome, I believe. Right? Shan, yeah. Another thing that's really good here is that we flipped into Titan, which means I have a few different options for plays here. But yeah, I end up just going for the Odin. I believe. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. Oh, I remember this. I'm thinking, oh, now I do Space Stone, and he has to think about me moving stuff out of lockjaw. So here I'm still thinking about Valkyrie. I'm like, how do I best play around Valkyrie, right? I think I end up not playing around it, but but yeah, so they re-Odin the Doctor Doom. I'm like, oh, this is pretty nuts, but they do close out themselves on Monster Island. So I'm like, that's not bad. We also get to Shang here, so we Odin the Shang and the Doom. Very, very nice, right? And then what do we roll? We roll She-Hulk. Okay, so now I'm like, he has to think about a few things, right? So we have priorities, so he's always going to Valk mid. But then I'm like, he could roll something less than 3 out of lockjaw, right? So we drew the death, best top deck that we could have had, right? It wins us Monster Island by 1. And now I'm trying to figure out how we can win anywhere else, right? Because we can't move anything out of lockjaw right? Because then we just lose right side. We can't play into X Mansion because we just lose X Mansion to anything. So this is a really awkward spot, right? Uh, but I think I just end up playing Death there. They already played Shang, so the only way they win mid is if they Valkyrie and they flip into something bigger than 3 power. Right? And I'm thinking, they didn't play that many stones. It's not too unlikely. It's not too likely that they win that way. So I believe I just go with Death and like pass. Yeah. I think I thought about like moving the Lockjaw as well, and maybe going like Death left and Time Stone mid. But I was like, that's just like kind of throwing. Like he might not even have the Valkyrie. Yeah, so he ends up just going Time Stone. And I guess flip Psylocke. So even if they played Valk, right, we would win there because the Psylocke flipped out. So. Wait, but range, you still would have lost. But yeah. So here, that's a huge win, right? We got 6 cubes there. I'm liking our position now. That's why I played it out that way. Yeah, I was afraid of Valkyrie for a while. Your Valk was kind of scary whenever I did Lockjaw stuff. Okay, here we have Carmitage. I believe here I push him out of the game. Here we have Carmitage. I have Leech. He doesn't run Leech. So anything that he's trying to get out early, do I think Rogue could be good? Probably not. No. It doesn't really fit. Your hardest matchups are Shuri. So most of the tech cards are for versus Shuri. But yeah, here I'm just time stoning to get out an early Leech. I'm like, he's going to draw lots of cards, right? And he has priority. So he'll draw a full hand, and we're going to leech the whole hand. And then we just win, right? But it's tough for him to leave before seeing the time stone, right? So that's why we got to snap on turn 2, yeah? Tournament meta surprised me. Not really, Monkey Cap. I just didn't realize how Swiss worked. Because, right, I didn't realize, like, I don't do tournament stuff. I didn't realize that, when you go up the bracket, right, when you win more, you face the people that win more. Which means that I was always gonna face Shuri. So with that in hindsight, I probably would have changed the deck list. Because I know I'm weakened to Shuri. I was just hoping that I wouldn't face against Shuri. But yeah. But you'll see, we have pretty competitive games versus Shuri. But yeah, so here we get the leech off. He got a bunch of draws. And I'm like, this is crazy good because he filled Carmitage, likely thinking that he could Killmonger to free space, and we probably leached the Killmonger. I went 3-3, get wrecked, and then I went to go get food. But we had some really close Shuri games. So this is the first game versus Flex. We were playing a mirror. We beat or I won't spoil, but we play a Shuri in the second game. And then Sera in a third game, and then we play 3 Shuris back to back. All the same deck. But yeah. I was really hoping to face more Captain Marvel Shuris, because Vision Shuris are really good into my deck. I'll show face cam in the Shuri games, yeah. Even here I look kind of crazy because it's so early in the morning. But yeah, I was expecting mostly Shuri. I didn't keep in Swiss in mind, Monkey Cap, which I should have. I should have looked up to see how Swiss works. Because I didn't realize that even if the tournament was 33% Shuri, I was like, oh, then I'll only face 33% Shuri. But that's not how it works. Yeah, here I crash. I don't know if you crash 2 Reigns. But on the Killmonger, we crash. I decided to clear off the lanes since I had Death in hand. I was like, it's just better to get the Death out. Yeah, the better you do, the more Shuris you face. You crashed too? Okay. Which I should have kept in mind. But I didn't really have, I wanted to take a deck I have fun with, and that deck doesn't do well into Shuri, right? So, 2-0 to 2-3. Yeah, I went 3-0 to 3-3. Here I'm like, he top deck Kang, so it's just a Kang for an extra draw. I don't think this is beatable, right? His hand is still leeched. He'll get one draw. So, yeah, I believe he fist bumps and he knows he lost. Insane game versus Iron. Nice. Yeah, all my games are really close. All the Shuris, besides one, was like 2 to 3 health, basically. Like, it was lots of 50-50s. Yeah, here we end up winning. He has no way to beat the Doom Death. It's just too much stats for anything to do leech. He put 7 cubes in 1. Yo. Okay, so that's game 1. We're 1-0. I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I know my deck in and out, so I wasn't too surprised. We did struggle a little bit at the beginning, but I was like, yeah, there's a reason we retreated those like District X games and stuff. All right, let's pull up the second game, yeah? So second game is the first one I end up playing against Shuri. I don't remember what the exact deck list was. It wasn't the same as the future ones I faced. I think it was a Captain Marvel Shuri. This is my first Shuri matchup. I end up facing 4. So you guys are going to get to learn a lot about Thanos Shuri here, because in my Shuri matchups, I went a lot of games with them. I think I went like 7 or 8 games or 9 every Shuri matchup. All right, let's skip ahead. Here I'm trying to get them in game. Okay, so we're playing Android. 4 out of 6, yeah. Well, right, whenever I win, it's more likely I face versus Shuri. So yeah, if I wanted to go to like top 8, I should have brought Shuri, is what I learned from this tournament. Yo, what's up, Jet? But I think I still, like, you'll see, I think I still did really well. So here I flip into Quantum Tunnel, and I'm like, I have nothing in my hand here. Or, okay, I drew Mind Stone. But I'm like, our flips in Quantum Tunnel are so much better than my opponents. You want 2 out of 3? You lost versus Galactus and Dino? Yo, where was my Galactus and Dino? But yeah, so here they retreat, right? I have insane flips. I'm going to end up having 2 lock draws. So one game you play against Shuri was the closest game. Yeah. Turn on Tarp. All of my Shuri games were really close. Besides this one, I think. Was this the one that wasn't close? Maybe it was a Sera game. I don't remember. But yeah, that's why I'm deciding to analyze them. If I just got blown out, I wouldn't be running these on stream. You're going to run Super School. Here I'm thinking about snapping the kiln. So the thing, oh yeah, you know what? This is a Captain Marvel Shuri, I remember. But I snap because I have Mind Stone, Lockdrop, and Sean. And also Juggernaut. Like, I have all the tools to get big enough in kiln that I have all the tools to get big enough to kill him to beat the Captain Marvel. Yeah. Steal the nulls and Dino True. Yo, what's up, Kikyo, man? You lost versus Galactus when he had a Zola? No, you don't retreat on 50s, Jet, but it sucks. Okay, actually, I should change that. I feel like you don't retreat on 50-50s unless you think you have, like, I think, what is it, higher than a 75% in the matchup? Because battle mode, right, you want to try and extend the matches if you feel like you're favored. Yeah. Oh yeah, here I leave up Danger Room because that's really good for us, right? You're snapping with Spore. Yeah, that happens. I think later on my snapping gets a little bit worse, but for the most part, I feel like it was pretty good. Honestly, for most of the games, I felt like I played very well. Which is why we're looking at them. But yeah, here I'm like, oh, we just got Pegasus now too. We can throw everything to Lockjaw, and we can even Space Stone something out if we want, or we can Space Stone the Lockjaw. I'm really happy with this outcome here. We run Sean and Killmonger, so the Sunspot with no protection is very, very happy. Like, very good for me. The biggest things, right, that I'm afraid of in the Shuri matchup are Cosmo and Vision. And so this person only is running Cosmo. They're running Captain Marvel. So I'm just thinking about playing around that. But yeah, we roll the Killmonger, which is pretty good. Also, they use Task here, which really surprised me. because like now I don't even have to worry about like a huge Taskmaster or anything like that. Yeah, what's up, Nathan? But yeah, we lost a 50-50. If She-Hulk went in the Taskmaster lane, we would have blown this game out, right, with the Sean. But unfortunately, it didn't. Yeah, so here I'm looking at the deck list, and I'm like, if I arrow, what do I lose to and kill? Yeah, I feel you, Hasa. It's tough to make those choices sometimes. Okay, so here we have 6 power, right? And with arrow, we go up to 14. I'm looking at his deck list, and I'm like, there's no combinations of cards that will beat 14 in kill. And I'm thinking to myself, as well, that like I don't need to play around like too much, because we leech the hand. So yeah, so we end up just throwing the arrow there for stats basically. And so now we're up 6 there, which means Captain Marvel only ties. So we just end up doing some lockjaw rolls. My deck, if you look, I have Odin, Death, and Juggernaut. So I'm like, and I think 1 or 2 stones. I believe it's just 2, the 2 that I flipped in originally. So I'm like, Shang middle is really good. If they try and play middle, it can die to you. So, but we already snapped. So, yo, what's up, Turn? Oh yeah, Tyrannosaurus was already here. I already said hi. Oh, you started YOLOing it? Fair. But yeah, so they end up Polarising, right? Like, it's a 50-50 for them, but like they always play in Pegasus, right? Because their thing doesn't have a chance to die, right? But yeah, we end up high rolling the def anyway, so it didn't really matter, even if they played mid. Oh, that wasn't even the last turn. Oh yeah, they must retreat here then, right? Yeah. We just end up Doctor Dooming. Means we don't lose to Captain Marvel and we don't lose to anything mid. They Shuri Redskull. Well, if they Shuried on turn 5, I'm pretty happy, right? But we leech them as well, right? So the odds of that are pretty low. Yeah, that could be an issue, for sure. But we had the leech, so I'm playing around less, for sure. So I'm like, he would have had to top deck the leech, right? And if he had the Redskull, that's probably what they would have played on 5. So that was my thought process there. But yeah, if they Shuried, it would have been scary. Yo, thank you for the follow, Shaquille Oatmeal. Welcome. Yeah, here I'm debating if what am I debating? Here, oh yeah, here I'm just like, my hand sucks. I have no stones and it's turn 3. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if it's right or not. Whenever I get an early leech like that, I generally play around less stuff. I just think about stats. But yeah, here we have Lockjaw, which is nice. We also have Juggernaut, so I'm thinking about like, if we Juggernaut into Space Throne or out of Space Throne, like, it's really good, right? You're gonna go off to sleep? Yeah, no problem, Hasa. You have some good sleep. Thank you for stopping by. I know it's really late. I appreciate it, man. Okay, so here I'm thinking that he's snapping me because of he's gonna Polaris the Raptor into Space Throne, and I'm like, I have Killmonger in my deck, so that doesn't really matter. But they end up just passing, so I'm very confused here. But yeah, we have Sean and Jug in our hand, so I'm like, we never leave, right? But yeah, since he passed, I'm assuming he has Shuri. It ends up being a Cosmo. So we do lose some value, but yeah, I do high roll the Lockjaw, right? Yeah. So I was assuming that it was Shuri, but since we high rolled Lockjaw a lot, right now we're just in a really good spot, right? So I just end up leeching. That's fair, Hasa. Yeah, I know you guys had time change too. But yeah, we end up leeching here. Yeah. And I'm also saying, so now it's going to be a 50-50, with the Shang-Chi. Depending on if they play into Space Throne or Savage Land. And that's true. But yeah, they have 6 cards in hand, so I'm like, this is a really big leech. The rest of my hand kind of sucks, right? And it ends up being a good call because they skip, right? Which means most likely they're gonna She-Hulk plus something, right? Looks like they had a Taskmaster, right? So yeah. Is there a better replacement? Yeah, it should be Kitty Pryde, Sunny. Why? But yeah, so now we win Space Throne with the redrawn Juggernaut, right? And we just put stats on the right side, right? And I'm thinking like it can be like Redskull Titania is the most power. So if Redskull goes left, we would lose left, but then we'd still beat Titania on Savage Line. So I feel pretty comfortable staying here. But yeah, they end up not even playing to Space Throne. And they do go Redskull Titania, but it's not enough to win on Savage Line. So yeah, we won 4 cubes there. But yeah, the Drug is the most easy thing to do. Since this is a tournament, Sunny, we took Drug for the Shuri matchup. Because I was expecting a lot of Shuri. But it can easily be a lot of different things. Like normally it would be Kitty if she wasn't disabled. It could be Psylocke. Could be Wasp. It could just be another big thing. It could be Chavez. But yeah, because Shuri is so prevalent in tournament meta, I was like, Drug is pretty good. You can use Drug on 3 to try and get rid of Cosmo, like from where you think they want to put it. And then later on, it's also pretty good for trying to hit like the Taskmaster into the Cosmo lane or like into the losing lane. So yeah. Since we're so far ahead and we have Lockjaw plus Mind Stone, I snap turn 1. We also have a free lane for Lockjaw on the left, right? So I'm like, I can always Lockjaw left. And so now here I'm thinking like, since I have Lockjaw, I should just pass, right? And throw in all my stones. We nerf Shuri by unnerfing Thanos. Fair. Yeah, the other Thanos deck was a bit better into Shuri because you could get big enough with your Quinjet, right? And mana cheating to win. Here I'm super confused. It looks like they were just trying to lock me out with the Titania. But yeah, they went 0, like Titania is 0 instead of 0 Titania. I don't know if they're just tilted from before. Ongoing, yeah. But yeah, they end up going 0ing the Polaris. And now I'm like, yo, I just shuffle everything into the Lockjaw and I feel pretty good, right? My deck is really good here. And I have Shang-Chi in my hand, right? So one thing to watch out for, like, if you have counter cards, right, the biggest scare for me, right, always is Armor Cosmo. But they never set that up, right? So it's pretty free. Like, I know that I'll be able to counter them, right? They won't be able to Shuri and play Armor and all this stuff, right? This flips DC, which is kind of bad for us because it busted Polaris, right? But yeah, so now I'm thinking what I should move with the Space Stone to try and set up to... Like, I'm trying to debate if I should try and, like, Leech versus Doctor Doom versus Wave. Like, what is their most likely play with the Sunspot pass there? Like, I don't know what they were doing. I was guessing a She-Hulk, so I'm like, oh, Leech is probably not that good. And I think I see later, I'm thinking about Doctor Doom with Washington, D.C. at one point, right? I'm like, I shouldn't fill the Lockjaw because I do want to put the Doctor Doom thing there. Okay, I end up moving the Lockjaw, yeah. Or no, what did I end up doing? I don't remember this play, actually. Oh, yeah, and I'm like, I should save the Juggernaut for the last turn. Oh, okay. Then, you know what, I realized, yeah, so I realized I don't want to shuffle the Power Stone because it activates Thanos. Yeah, I forgot about this. And activating Thanos is really nice with the wave stuff. Because it means I can just put enough power in one lane to try and beat him, right? We do hit Killmonger here, which is good and bad, right? I don't have death in my hand, so it's a little bit scary. Right, and we're behind 2 lanes, right? So I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna lose here. And then we had to hop tech the death. And I'm like, oh wait, never mind. Yep. You called it, you make me sick. Yo, thank you for the follow for it, LaCroix. But yeah, that was a huge top deck. I mean, we were already in for 2 cubes, so yeah. But yeah, we rolled here. We were rolling a little bit. Yeah, so I'm just thinking about like, so he didn't Shuri, right? So I'm like, he leaves because he figures I have the death. You're having an issue? What's the issue, Nathan? Is there an audio issue? But yeah, they leave because they think I have the death. The Hagman stream right after tourney. I mean, yeah, I wanted to go like, this is my normal stream time on weekends, and I wanted to let the tourney finish first. So, but yeah, we're gonna like go through our games, and then by then it should be like reset time. So we'll do the missions and stuff. But yeah, so now it's the last game. We stay in basically every game, right? How did it go? You know, I talked to you already. Oh wait, no, I didn't talk to Troy. It didn't go too well. But we had fun. Yeah, we had some really close games, so that's why we're going through them. This was not one of them, but yeah, here it's Gamma Lab. We have Sean, they don't, and they throw the armor into it. So yeah, if you guys dislike Shuri, this specific game of the series, you might enjoy it. You can't stop doing Galactus Spider-Man. But yeah, since it's Space Throne and Fist Tower, I'm like, oh, I can't Space Stone a Hulk out, right? It dies in Fist Tower, and Space Stoning Space Throne does nothing, right? So I just shoved them all in there. And like, even if he ties by putting 3 things, he ends up Polarising. Doesn't do anything versus a Killmonger deck, but I assume they just did that for to try and reduce the Gamma Lab stuff. Yo, thank you for the subscription, Foy LaCroix. Appreciate it. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Follow into subscribe. The classic combo. But yeah, we draw Killmonger, and we also played Space Stone, so I'm like, yeah, he's just getting super tilted now. Like, we're basically calling out all his plays. Right, and now I'm like, do we just arrow and hope he's playing on the left side? Right, because now we're winning Space Throne. We're going to win Gamma Lab. I'm like, why don't we just arrow him mid? This is not the right play, by the way. The right play is arrow right. Just to lock up the Space Throne. But yeah, we end up pulling the Shuri here. And it doesn't flip up. So yeah. And now it's just, yeah, he just leaves. It's the last life. But yeah, so this was the Shuri game that we won 10-0. The future ones do not go this smoothly. We lost to the same Shuri deck 3 times, Troy. So we'll get to that. But they were really close games. Doing this for the clout for the NFT scam release. Poor Shuri gamer, yeah. Yeah, this was the match where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I high rolled a lot, but also I think they stayed in on too many of my snaps that you'll see later on people don't stay in. Yeah, I don't think they played too well. I think towards the end they got a little bit tilted. But yeah. That was it. So this is the 3rd match now. We're up against Sera Control. This is the deck I had the most trouble in besides Shuri in testing. So I was talking a little bit how it is a little bit of a scary matchup to do wave stuff versus Sera Control. But yeah, so we're waiting for them. Okay, it ends up to be Georgo. Yeah, so they run Killmonger, so I'm like, but I also run Killmonger, so I'm like, oh, it's pretty solid. Yo, what's up, Georgia? welcome. But yeah, the very first thing I said when I joined this game, I'm like, all right, we're not putting stones into Nidavellir unless like we expect them to die because he runs Killmonger. I'm thinking about Enchantress. I'm like, Enchantress doesn't do much. It's basically a game. If there was more Sera, like I would be 100% to always include the Leech. Leech is the big savior for these matchups. But yeah, similarly, our Shang doesn't really do too much here. That's something I also noted. But yeah, so now I'm trying to figure out where I should put the Lockjaw. And if I should snap. Right, if I Lockjaw Eternity Range, we could potentially get a rock there. But also Lockjaw Nivedillier is pretty good too, right? Because the Lockjaw dodges the Shang-Chi, right? So we end up just timing. We want to save Soulstone to flip into it, right? In case we don't draw any stones. So yeah, now it's just my decision, right? Do I Lockjaw Nivedillier or do I Lockjaw Eternity Range? Alright, and then Crimson Cosmos flip up, and I'm like, whoa, the only way this guy gets into Crimson Cosmos is with Sera. So I'm like, we should be able to win Crimson Cosmos very easily. So I'm like, I just need to win one other lane. And Nivedillier might be slightly easier because we have Shang. So potentially we can Shang the Nivedillier if they misplay a little bit. But yeah, we also just, right, I just want to get some good rolls here. We have Power Stone, which also dodges Shang. Pretty nice. We also have Doctor Doom, right? So I'm thinking about Doctor Doom also will go into Nivedillier. We end up Killmongering, so right, you only need to kill 4 things to get yeah. His hand is pretty bad here, I'm noticing, because he played Sentinel and Polaris and like nothing else, right? I mean, yeah, it's not terrible. I don't know, it's not bad. But yeah, so we kill 4 things, so now if we wave, we can do death plus like a bunch of other stuff, right? We hit the She-Hulk, which makes me a little bit concerned, but we do turn off Nivedillier. So into Rickety Bridge, actually. And now I'm like, yeah, and we hit the death too, but they also committed. I forget if I retreat here or not. But here, oh yeah, you know what? Here I'm thinking like now, like it's turn 5. How do I win? How do I win tiebreakers? Right now it's the tiebreaker game. And I'm like, if I arrow mid, they're going to get over me mid. Doctor Doom's probably not going to be enough. Doctor Doom wins me Cosmos, but they always play into bridge, right? So I believe I retreat, or at least I should retreat. That end up taking Kitty out. Well, Kitty's disabled Taylor. So yeah, we had to take Kitty out. We also took out, usually I run Travis over the Leech. We put the Leech in for Thanos mirrors mainly. Or Rickety, yeah. But then we're still behind, right? Like, how do we win tiebreakers? Yeah. So I retreat. We still have a free retreat, right? And here we go with the classic mute because I don't like when people emote me during the games. So yeah. I know Georgo's here, so I'm just calling that. Throne Room here, I'm like, oh, we auto win Throne Room. So I'm pretty happy with that. And we roll Project Pegasus, and I'm like, the best thing he can do with Project Pegasus is play Sera, but then he runs out of cards, right? So we snap here right away. And I'm like, we're just going to play 2 cards, and we're just going to She-Hulk. I believe I'd pick up the wave, right? Yeah. And based on what they do, we'll play or not play She-Hulk. Yeah, so they end up playing Angela and Bishop, and I'm like, oh, this is actually worst case scenario, because now he gets both his scaling stuff out early. But we still have the She-Hulk, so I'm like, it's not terrible. We top deck the Killmonger, which is huge with the wave, right? So now we can do like wave plus death and something else, right? For free. You could have Zabu instead of Sentinel. Did you have Zabu in your deck? I don't remember. Did they order wrong on purpose? Oh yeah, they did miss one on Bishop. That was on purpose? Okay. Keep Bishop below 9. Oh, okay. Lockjaw. I guess it's, yeah, and dog. But yeah, so here I'm thinking about like where I should put the Lockjaw, because I want to put Death in Throne Room to auto win there. So yeah, I end up putting it left because we're already ahead mid, right? So yeah, and my deck is very good right now. I have Leech, Odin, Thanos, and Doctor Doom in my deck. Those are all very good to hit up. We already played out like how many stones? Oh, I can't see how many destroys I had. I think we played out 3 stones. So yeah, we're really happy with our snap here on how it turned out. I'm like, even if they Sera, like the wave still leads us to both play 2 cards, and I feel more favored in the 2 card matchup. But yeah, and they have to have Sera, right? Which means they probably have to top deck it. Like I felt like they would have Sera'd on the Project Pegasus. But yeah, so they end up tempoing out Enchantress. I'm like, okay. And I just wave. Like I'm pretty happy with the Thanos. I just want to put some more power in the lockjaw, and the main reason I'm doing this is for the chance to hit Leech, because that closes out the game, right? Doctor Doom is also pretty good. But yeah, so we waved them. I'm like, if he doesn't have arrow, wave just shuts the game as well with the arrow. So, but yeah, then he plays 1 card, and I'm like, oh, is it Sera? Like that can be kind of scary. No chance for double shank? No, not double shank. Okay, and he ends up shang instead of arrow. Sorry, I might be missaying some stuff here, but no. I was worried about Sera, not Shang. So he shanks me, but we're still ahead on Shadowland. So now I'm like, oh, he didn't play Sera, so the only thing that he can do to try and beat arrow is play Mysterio. But Mysterio, if you can double shank. Oh, like if I flipped out something big, fair. But you'd still lose here. But yeah, so here I'm like, okay, he's gonna retreat, and I believe he stays. He snaps back. I'm not sure why. Because I'm looking at his deck list. I'm like, the only thing that dodges arrow is Mysterio, and Mysterio plays left to right, so we would still pull the left one over. And so they end up playing Killmonger, but we just pull it mid, right, and we win. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I assume they just missed the arrow play there because no one plays arrow anymore. Lots of people have cut arrow from their Thanos list, so I assume you just missed it when you were looking at my list. But yeah, I was like, Mysterio's the only thing. 1, Mysterio is 4 power, and 2, it plays left to right, so actually it doesn't matter. It's just 4 power, right? So yeah, Mysterio is just 4 power, so we always win. But Mysterio would play around the arrow if it was like 5 or 6 power, yeah. And then here we're ahead. I have Mind Stone, so we just snap him because he's low on health. And he snaps back, but it doesn't matter. It's for 2 cubes anyways. You're all inning into that Shang-Chi. Well, we should have snapped before the Shang-Chi then, right? I was confused by the snap after the wave. Oh, you're just, yeah, tilted, yeah. I felt like the snap back here. I was like, that's just he's just tilted. Yeah, and then it flips Throne Room again. Like I said this before, Throne Room, we auto win every time with Death. So I'm pretty happy with the Throne Room hit. We have Leech in our hand, which is really nice. And then we flip into Raft, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of over. But then we don't have a way to fill it. So I believe I just wave to prevent them from filling it at the same time. And I'm like, we're going to wave, we're going to Leech or Doctor Doom, and then we're going to Killmonger to free up space and play a bunch of stuff. But yeah, they play Bishop. And then we draw the Death, and I'm like, that kind of sucks. But you know what, we're just Leeching them. Leech was very good in this matchup. So we're going to Leech, we're going to get the Raft card, then we're going to free up the Raft space. We do get Null, which is really bad. Right, it's basically a 0 cost thing. It comes a little bit bigger with the Killmonger, but I'm like, oh, this is a feels bad. But yeah, we go for the Killmonger. I believe I kill the Space Stone for the Null buff. Yeah. I'm like, we're winning mid with Death. And then I just need to win another lane. So, yeah, we just Space Stone mid, yeah. And we kill the Nova before the Mysterio flips up, which is very good here. 0-6. The big thing is it doesn't get the power, right, from the Necrosha. So it's a 0-3. And I know this because I play a lot of Galactus. Or not a lot, a reasonable amount. But yeah, it gets power based on it on board. So now I'm like, well, Death wins mid, but how do I win another lane? But then I'm thinking, like, where is he putting the real Mysterio? It might not be in Necrosha. So I'm like, if it's not Necrosha, we win, right? By just playing Soulstone and Null. And I'm looking at his deck list, and I'm like, he might go for Raft too. I mean, he assumes that we have a big thing from a 6-drop Raft, right? So I'm like, we'll just go for it. It's 2 cubes for me, and it's his life for him. And I believe we win by 1 point. But yeah, it was not the ideal null. So yeah, we get by 1 point. I mean, we had to lose 5 games in a row, so that would have been tough. But yeah, everything like in that matchup rate was hinged on that 8 cube game that we stole. So I was like, well, I don't really know like if I really the full death combo off pretty consistently. Which I did in earlier matches. You'll see in the later matches, I don't really do that. So yeah, here we're playing Jammernaut. They're playing the stock Shuri list with Polaris and Vision. Do I swap my profile and title? I usually keep my picture the same. I'll swap the title whenever. I've kept it the same for a while, but I swap it whenever. Yeah, if you want me to run a title, I'll go for it. Here it rolls Carmitage. I'm thinking like he's gonna think I have stones, so I should probably snap Carmitage, right? It's really weird for a Thanos deck not to snap on Carmitage, because the only reason that they would stay in Carmitage is if they had Shuri, right? Anime Angela, yeah. I like to keep it that way too, so people recognize I'm not a bot on ladder. Oh, Magneto would be interesting, yeah. You'll see, like, so here I have Drug Tecton for Shuri, so you'll see it comes in clutch pretty often. But yeah, here I'm like, oh, he didn't leave on the snap. He has Shuri. This is gonna be rough. But then we draw the Mind Stone, and I'm like, okay, we get all our stones. We're gonna have a really good Killmonger here. I'm trying to debate where to put it though. Yeah, Jammernaut's very good. Double Shuri's kind of crazy, yeah, it is. But we're in for 2 cubes already. They didn't snap back, so I'm like, if there's a time that we win with this deck, it's gonna be with Carmitage, right? Like we're basically guaranteed good rolls now after we get all the stones. But we have all 6 stones out of our deck here. But yeah, here I'm not sure if Killmonger in the log trial was correct. That's something I was thinking about. Right, because Killmonger on like Clintar or Vault might have been better. But yeah, here I'm kind of sad that Juggernaut comes out. It's really good later, and it's also just like too late, right? But yeah, we roll the Doom, so I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. We get extra space on Clintar. We're ahead in 2 lanes. I'm like, we can win the vault with an arrow, so I end up playing arrow left. But then yeah, I do mention that if they have vision, we're kind of boned either way. So I think I just end up playing all the stones, and they snap me back, and I'm like, well, we don't beat vision, but if they don't have vision, we can beat that. So I'm just like trying to think. Targets you need to include? Yeah, it's something Johnson ran in a tournament a few weeks back. And I kind of like it for a Shuri expected matchup. But yeah, here I'm just like, I need to win matches where they don't have vision. So we pull them over to the right. And it's a Redskull. And that's huge. Arrow Odin, that doesn't do it against vision, right? This whole time I'm trying, like, I was like, oh, like vision is really bad. But yeah, so now we don't actually have Shang or anything to deal with the Redskull. So I'm thinking about Odin the arrow, but they run like 1-drops, right? Is Jammer in here? Yeah, Jammer is who I'm facing right now. Um, but you know what beats playing multiple cards mid? Juggernaut. So I end up Odining the Juggernaut, and I'm like, now it's going to be a 50-50, right, for the Taskmaster. If it hits him left, then we win. Otherwise, we lose. So I'm like, it's Shuri. We need to take the 50-50s that we can take. If he thinks we have Shang, he'll leave, right? Oh, if he's in chat, I don't know. But yeah, I'm like, if we have Shang, right? We have Shang in our deck, so you might not want to stay for that reason. But yeah, so we get the 4 cubes here. But we didn't have we didn't have Shang. But yeah, it was a 50-50. You'll see a lot of these games come down to 50-50s. Oh, you want to mention, yeah. He was your first loss? Yeah, he was my first loss too, Join. Oh, spoilers, I guess. It's not live though. You can see I'm actually right. I'm here. Just woke up like an hour or two before. I'm like half like dead. You're betting on the match, yeah. But yeah, so I'm in a reasonable spot. I'm kind of sad about this leech here. I'm like, leech is what stops. Like with the Shang draw, I'm like, leech would have been really good, right? Because then they could only Shuri one big thing. But yeah, so we're just drawing. Mostly looking for lockjaw. And yeah, so I have a little bit of a dilemma here, right? Do I wave to try and get something big onto Asgard? Right, wave on 3 is really good into Shuri because usually they want a Shuri on 4, right? And yeah, he's really good at like maximizing his potential, like the amount of games to get all the Shuri games that he can. But yeah, he ends up Cosmoing me, which is huge. Like I'm just like, yo, that sucks so much. Like I win by getting ahead with the wave there, but they end up just doing Sunspot instead. So I'm like, oh, it doesn't do that much. They don't tilt, yeah. Yeah, he plays really well this game. But we roll Odin, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. But they get 2 cards, so I'm just like trying to think about like their output versus our output, and mostly whether or not I should leech. Right. Our deck's pretty reasonable. We have Arrow, we have She-Hulk. I end up just leeching. I'm like, he has a full hand and a Sunspot on the board. There's a possibility they just like pass and to like try and do a She-Hulk thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a bad spot here. And you might hear me say this a lot. There's a lot of games which is true where I'm like, yeah, I'm in a bad spot. But I have to hope they don't have... this is the Vision version, yeah. I feel like with my deck, I'm very... I'm much more favored into the Marvel than the Vision version. Oh, you're asking him, yeah. Okay, he was running Marvel. But yeah, you'll see a few games coming up where it's like, if it was Marvel, we would be super favored. But because it's Vision, we get wrecked. But yeah, they play this in the right order, which is really funny. Or wrong order, depending on how you see it, because I have Shang in my hand. But the thing is, I'm trying to figure out how I win another lane. And then I come to the conclusion, I'm like, well, they can't put more power on Atlantis. So I'm trying to just win 2 lanes, right? And then I'm thinking like, oh, this is a 50-50 or on where they put like Redskull Titania, right? And they make a really smart play here that beats me. So I'm thinking like they're gonna Redskull and Asgard and Titania mid. So I'm counting here. Or vice versa, right? So I'm trying to take a 50-50 here. This beats Titania. Like I'm thinking they're not gonna play a big thing mid because they're afraid of Shang. But yeah, it was a bad 50-50. What I should have done instead is play Thanos. But yeah, so they end up going Titania, Zero, and Polaris. So we lose by 2 here. Yeah, I was expecting one big thing and one small thing. They played 3 small things. But if I just played Thanos, we would have been fine. Right, I should have thought there and been like, just Thanos is also taking the 50-50. Not necessarily mid. I should have thought about Thanos mid or right. Because since they had Prio, if they went a 1-drop right, then we could have stolen the Titania. But I think I didn't think long enough there. But yeah, here I'm talking about like that wave Cosmo was like nuts. No way they play the big thing in the unprotected lane. Yeah, and then I was like, well, that's why I said like I was thinking they would put the big thing in the protected lane and then the small thing. I wasn't expecting 3 small things. Dude, gambling, not sure if you should have taken it. Yeah, you'll see that a few times. Like I'm looking back and I'm like, I should have considered Thanos more, but it's really tough, right? It just depends on which route they take. But yeah, here I'm like, oh wait, Doctor Doom just wins Sanctum, right? Unless they have Vision, you'll see this a lot. I'm like, yeah, I lose to Vision here. Yeah, I lose to Vision here. We do have the Odin, so we don't actually lose to Vision unless they have Shuri as well. But yeah, so we just wave. Wave is right, like I said before, is really good into Shuri. And then they make an insane play here. Wait, okay, let's pause this real quick. What do you think this card is? So I wave turn 3 and play my Doctor Doom. I'm like, yeah, they're probably interested in Shuri and do the normal stuff. I'm curious what you guys think that he plays. They just play 1 card, right? Because it's waved. Yeah, Monkey Cap's got it. I get Cosmo. I get read like a book. Who Cosmo's here? And so I'm like, well, that's pretty much it. We can't really get into negative zone that well. I'm like, should I have just Doctor Doomed left? Like, I don't know. I assume this play was to play around Arrow. But yeah, so he snaps and then we leave. Yeah, I think it was a read around Arrow, right? Because of Fist Tower. But yeah, I'm just like, yo, that's awful. It was a read around Arrow and probably also a read around Doom, but it was a 50-50 for the Doom on where I put it, right? I could have put it mid or left, right? So I do think with a wave last game, now Doom aren't losing locations enough. Why? I need to Doom Odin here to win, right? If I arrowed, I still would have got blocked. Cosmo's scary. Yeah, Cosmo's the... I mentioned this in the second game that we went through. Oh, it's the face cam glitching. Wait, what's happening with my face cam? I mentioned this earlier. Cosmo is the biggest thing to worry about in this matchup. He'll never play into negative zone. That's not true. Because negative zone is good for his deck, right? Because he floods. Why? I disagree with the Cosmo. Yeah, but why would you Cosmo after the wave? Yeah, I mean, I should have thought about it more. But I was like, if he has Cosmo, he's playing it on 3, right? Not on 4. So it caught me off guard. Yeah, right? Because that means he top decked the Cosmo. Oh, April Fool's. Okay. Yeah, Cosmo is the scariest thing for our deck list, right? It stops our Juggernaut. It stops our stones. It's pretty rough. Decks are the same. Yeah. No, he plays this really well. But there's a lot of 50-50s involved here. Some of it's reads, some of it is just like pure 50-50s. But yeah, here we snap because we had a Doctor Doom turn 1. We had Prio, so there's no way for them to Cosmo us or anything. We also get double lockjaw, but our deck is we're mostly full. I think we roll reality here, right? With our Juggernaut, yeah. Here I'm really disappointed because we roll reality out of lockjaw and Mojo World, yeah. And we lose our wave, yeah. But yeah, we snapped because of the turn 1. We do more with our mana than most other decks, right? Because we run so many big drops. But yeah, so here I'm just trying to set up death, but I'm like, oh, we don't have wave, but I need the space, right? Like I'm so low on space here. I can't play really into the Cosmo lane. Yeah, it's very scary because you need to do the wave and some of the other like stuff. Like, so you have so many battle cries in this deck, right? So yeah, I would say during the resistance it might be an instat, but you have to be very careful to play around their Titania lockout. Hell, we'll do Discord rush. Yeah, it would have to be set up through Discord. But yeah, so we rolled the leech, but I'm like, he got the Shuri off. He's gonna play like the big thing on the Cosmo most likely. And so I'm just trying to roll into something else big middle. I'm really hoping for arrow here. Not sure why I drug. Oh, I guess drug doesn't really matter, right? Okay, I drug right. Yeah. But yeah, if arrow pops out, it goes there either way. I don't know. Let me hear myself a little bit. Sorry, I'm reading a lot of chat, so I might be a little bit off on what my thought process was here. But yeah, I'm just trying to think like after like we lose the Cosmo lane, how are we winning another lane? No foil. I don't like this list into Shuri. I think this list is bad into Shuri. Should I let him take prio? He's never taking prio, right? But yeah, we did roll the arrow, so I'm like, oh, now we just shot and we won, right? I believe they retreat here. But we can never take prio, right? Because we'd be ahead middle and... Oh, wait, were we tied middle? Yeah, I guess I could have passed and let them take prio. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It's really tough. So based on how he's been playing, right? If he auto wins left, I'm not sure I can get enough power on the board just to beat out like not even a Taskmaster. But yeah, that was definitely a thought on if I should give him prio or not. I don't believe I thought about that. But like, I don't know. Then it would still be a 50-50, right? Ongoing Thanos, yeah. I was debating an ongoing Thanos list. It's a really tough call, yeah. Because yeah, the arrow is not consistent enough. Yeah, I really like Iron Man into the Shuri stuff. It's just like I would have brought Iron Man if it was pre-buff Shuri, right? Iron Man's a lot worse into Shuri now. All right, now we get to have the fun of losing a few games here, because I believe they roll Shuri's lab like 2 or 3 times in a row, and I'm just like, yo, this feels bad. But yeah, we do have Lockjaw, so I'm like, Lockjaw in Big House is pretty good. It's only bad if they have Vision. And right, I said this before. Vision is my kryptonite in these matchups that we're going to be having. Definitely not batching. But yeah, so I'm like, do I Juggernaut? Do I Reality? I want to put Reality into Lockjaw. But also, like, I don't know. But yeah, I end up turning off Big House. I'm not sure if this is right or not. This might have been a tilt play, but yeah, we hit the Shang-Chi, and then I was like, oh, well, we lose now. Yeah, I think part of it, Jet, is bias, yeah. For sure. But yeah, we hit the Shang-Chi, and now I'm like, well, we're in a bad spot. But like, at least we can drag them off Shuri's. What I'm hoping here is that we drug them into Xandar and I can Odin the Shang-Chi. But then I'm thinking to myself and I'm like, that only works if they never play into Shuri's lab after. Because Necrosha means I can't get ahead on Necrosha, right? With the Mind Stone or anything like that. But yeah, I'm trying to put him off of Shuri's lab here. Happens. You just remember it happened all the time. But yeah, so we do deny half the power, but I believe it's vision, right? And now I'm just sad. Oh wait, no, it's Redskull. Okay. Alright, so now I'm just thinking like, well, we didn't hit it into Xandar. We could arrow potentially if they misplay. But I'm like, if he's just gonna Taskmaster, they never misplay, right? So I'm just trying to see if there's an out here. I don't believe I find one. Oh, you know what? I do the math on the She-Hulk here, and this baits me into staying in, I believe. The math on the She-Hulk tells me that if he Taskmasters onto Shuri's lab, we win Shuri's lab. But this is a gamble, right? On whether or not they play into Xandar. I'm thinking that he'll play around the Odin on the Shang-Chi. Yeah, Arrow Nerf is really bad. It feels really bad. But yeah, I get a little bit baited by Shuri's lab here. I'm like, he might play around Odin on the Shang-Chi, but I don't think anyone plays around that. So I get baited into staying. I should have left for 2 cubes. But yeah, because I was like, the only way like he wins Shuri's lab after the Taskmaster is with Titania, but he had exactly Taskmaster Titania. Oh, we had Praya. Oh yeah, okay, so that's why I made this play then. Sorry, I was looking at Praya. Yeah. So I was just like, take the 50-50, but I guess it's not really a 50-50, right? Because I have to throw onto Lockjaw. I don't know. That was just a bad stay by me. That was a bad stay by me. Okay, but we have Mojo World here, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. But then it rolls Shuri's lab again, and I'm like, yo, what is this? Maybe Raj. We have like another hour of games to go through. But yeah, I should have left that game. That was just bad to stay. And I recognized this like after the game. But I'm like, well, we have to keep going, right? So yeah, that was just a bad stay. Oh, you know what? I think he baited me in because he didn't snap, right? Yeah, that might have been it. But like, I should have left anyways. But yeah, so here we're Juggernaut to get rid of Cosmo off of Shuri's lab, and it works. So this is why I like Jug in the matchup, because if you can figure out where they're gonna put their Cosmo, and usually it's not on their like Sunspot lane or their Titania lane, right? Usually they want to put it where they're gonna put the big thing. You can usually snipe it. Right, so now I'm like, oh, I can Shang-Chi whatever they play on Shuri's lab. But I'm not sure how many 1-drops he has. So I'm like, they might be able to contest Mojo World. My hand's kind of awkward. It's turn 5. Leech this late feels really bad. So I don't know what I end up doing. Because he's Shuri's, right? So now I'm like, how am I beating a big Shuri thing? And I'm like, I just have to get Prio and then Shang, right? And dodge the armor. And I'm like, well, if it's vision, then I should fill left, right? But I leave left because I'm like, I'm going to Soulstone Shang-Chi on the last turn. I want Prio here, yeah. Whether that's right or not is questionable. I don't want it to Shang. Debatable. Because we always win Mojo World is my thought process here. But yeah, he plays Vision. And now I'm like, well, it's either going to be Vision mid or Vision left. Right, I'm thinking that the task doesn't double mid. So I'm like, he might just keep it, right? And assume that I'm not going to Shang. Yeah, he can't move behind the Cosmo, yeah. Because it's Mojo World. So it's a 50-50 on whether or not he moves to Vision. Is what I'm thinking. Right? If he moves it to Mojo World, then we can just Shang the lizard and whatever else he plays mid. But yeah, he makes the right read here. I mean, it's a 50-50, right? I'm thinking Shang left or Shang right. Right? It depends whether or not he moves the vision, right? But yeah, it might have been better to throw Prio here and just Shang even the Taskmaster. Maybe. The thing is, throwing Prio there means I don't play a She-Hulk, right? And that means I lose to like just small stuff on the board. But yeah, so we take the 50-50. He moves the vision, we lose the 50-50. We only kill the lizard. So yeah. But yeah, vision, big killer for us here. Yeah. Turns out he doesn't even have the Taskmaster. I'm like, oh, feels bad. We could have just played like big stuff and been in a better spot. Throwing Power only works with a lockdown card. Yeah, I would have had to do something. They can just pass She-Hulk tasks, yeah. Yeah, I'm constantly thinking about She-Hulk tasks and stuff, and I'm just like, because Arrow doesn't beat that, and Team Captain Marvel Vision. Thank you, Shade, because my list beats Captain Marvel. But I faced 3 visions in a row. Yeah, my list is built to beat the Marvel version, not the Vision version. So please, encourage the Captain Marvel more. Magneto for a turn 5 pass, probably, yeah. But yeah, we end up losing by 4. This is the most we get beat by Shuri. Oh, I miscounted. That means that it was oops, I tweeted that we lost by 6 health, but it must have been 7 then. Yo, thank you for the gift sub to Shade, Foy LaCroix. Yeah, welcome to the island, Shade. But yeah, so here I'm like, I stayed in on a bad game, and they got double Shuri's lab. I'm like, I made a few mistakes. Like, I don't feel too bad about like the outcome. I'm like, I played pretty bad, and it was still pretty close. It's all stones. Well, they would have to play out a bunch of stuff, right? About these games all day. I'm just okay. I should clarify. I'm not talking about like what I should have done. I'm talking about my thought process in the moment. I've thought about what I should have done after. Like, I'm listening to myself right now, and I'm just clarifying it. Yeah. I could go into the correct place as well. Alright, so now we're playing next. He's running the same exact Shuri list that our last opponent was running. And so I'm like, I need to play this perfectly. My list is not good into Shuri, right? I brought this up before. But it's playable matchup, right? So the move resolves before the Shang-Chi, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was expecting, chat. Since he was playing so well, I expected him to read my read. Yeah? Yeah, move resolves first, yeah. I expected him to read my read there. Like, I was thinking too high up, right? I should have made the obvious play. Profex, yeah. I don't think it would fit in this deck, though, right? We have Doom. If I had the Valkyrie, I would run the Valkyrie version of this deck, right? But yeah, so here I'm surprised that he doesn't snap on Nowhere. Nowhere is really bad for my deck, right? It's a free Cosmo. So I could Shang through Cosmo if they both moved. I believe Cosmo, it depends who has priority. But I think we would if we have priority, yeah. If we have priority, they're like, the ongoing's not active yet. Yeah, here he calls out my Killmonger, and I'm just like, I mean, it's not even a call out. Like, it's just good. The only place I can put it, right? I'm just like, yo, that sucks. But at least I can wave, right? And I've mentioned this before. Wave is pretty solid on 3 versus Shuri. But yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if he snaps, I'm leaving. He has double Cosmos on the board. We end up waving in nowhere. I'm not sure why. Is there a reason that I waved into nowhere there? Yeah, I'm just I'm just a little tilted by my hand here. It sounds like I'm leaving this game no matter what. I don't want him to cheat out something big, so we're just gonna wave and try and pull him mid. I was kind of expecting a Shuri there. Oh, you know why? It was turn 4, yeah. So waving on turn 4 is not good, right? Waving on turn 3 is good. Waving on turn 4 is not good. But yeah, so here we just arrow and then I leave. Because yeah, we drew one stone and didn't draw anything, right? Is anyone not getting any Steam clients? No. We got all the steampunks in 30 caches. 32. And this is on Steam. But I don't even know if the event is still active. But yeah, so here I just retreat. Right, we got all of our big things. And yeah. They were able to play out everything on Cosmos and whatnot. Anyone brought Negasonic? I don't think anyone could afford Negasonic. Oh, you got it last night? Okay. Good to know. Yo, thank you for the follow, iPie. But yeah, so we leave there. And now we get Lockjaw, so I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. If we get a free Lockjaw lane, we're going to snap. We have all our stones, right? So this is an example of a good hand, right? So we snap on one. We have good stuff. What do you think about Magneto? That you feel like Magneto's important, right? I agree. I don't know. Magneto versus Drug was my consideration. Maybe it was Magneto. Does my event in boxes tab work on Steam? No. It doesn't work on anybody's Steam. But yeah, so it rolls Asteroid in, and I'm like, yo, this is awful because if he Cosmos, it's going to go on top of my Lockjaw. Right, because it gets pulled to Asteroid, but they don't have the Cosmos, so. You took a nap and then you saw his lab. But yeah, oh yeah. They get Shuri's lab again. If you watch the last game that we played, they also got Shuri's lab a bunch. So. Yeah, probably. But yeah, here we get some good rolls out of Lockjaw. I'm like, okay, snapping here was good, right? We only had stones and Lockjaw, so we were basically guaranteed good rolls. So now I'm like, okay, basically, I just need to make sure that I'm okay on Shuri's lab, right? So I'm like, I'm just going to keep rolling Lockjaw. I'm going to pull something out into Xandar just to threaten the Sunspot lane, right? Actually, that's one of the more interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. I disagree with Reigns' take, though. But yeah, so here we flip, and I'm like, oh, wow, we got, like, ridiculous rolls, right? And we can move off, and I'm like, okay. And then they Shuri, and I'm like, well, if they have vision, we just lose, right? Still. We have Prio, so they can go vision and then move it into Xandar. So, yeah. I'm trying to keep it on Shuri's lab. I'm thinking, like, you know, if it's not vision, I'm like, okay, we can arrow into Shang. Isn't this a wave Odin line? I mean, they're playing one card a turn, right? Wait, when would you want me to wave turn 4, right? Yeah, you're right. I should have waved Odin. That's a good call, Jet. Yeah, I was thinking too much about the move into the Xandar, but I don't need to do that for sure, right? So I should have waved Odin and then arrow, right? And that would have won me the game. Good call. Yeah. I don't think we end up losing to that anyways, but because they have vision. Right, I believe that still loses to vision, but maybe less so. But yeah, so here I'm like, well, if it's vision, it's going to be a 50-50, right? Because he's going to take prio on Shuri's slab. But then I'm like, oh wait, I shouldn't have moved the death if I wanted him to keep prio. So I'm like, well, that's not ideal. Because now the vision can move, right? And vision is a big killer, like I said before. It just kept beating me over and over. So I'm trying to see. So here I do some counting. I'm like, if I Odin the arrow, we win Shuri's lab. But I'm like, then they have to not have a 1-drop, right? They have 0 and Titania. But I'm like, what other situation do I get into where I can win like this? And I'm like, if they don't have exactly Taskmaster plus like Titania, I'm like, we win. So I do stay here. Vision isn't great. I mean, it's 14. It's pretty big. But yeah. Here they had both task and the 1-drop. So they end up winning. But yeah, I was just counting on them not having a 1-drop. I don't know. You'll see. I probably stay too much versus some of these Taskmaster plays. Is what I was thinking about. But yeah. Also, if you're listening, I get a little bit tilted. I'm like, wave on 4, yeah. No, I agree with you, Jet. It was probably the move. It's tough. It's really tough because of the vision. The vision beats the arrow too often. But yeah, I was also talking about there. I'm like, I'm looking at the arrow and I'm like, it feels so bad in this matchup now because it pulls the last card, not the first card. So I'm thinking to myself, wait, I never pulled Taskmaster unless it's their only card. And then I'm like, wait, if I never pulled Taskmaster, like, why am I running arrow? So I'm kind of regretting the arrow bring. Maybe 14, but not 29. Yeah, maybe. But like either way, I still lose, right? If I try and pull him into the armor lane, you can also just win with task. I guess I would know where the task is going, but we have prio. Would be air replacement. Probably some version of lockdown. Even Dino would be good, yeah. Right. An issue that I was running into, right? And this is more noticeable in the non-Shuri's Lab games, is that most of my cards are too small to beat just Shuri into what do you call it? Vision. Right? And Dinosaur is bigger. Yeah, I think I might I might have just been too inexperienced with this list into the Shuri matchup. Would I say Thanos bounce isn't the best Thanos list? Definitely. But yeah, I'm looking at my list and I'm like, the vision is just a killer because it's usually big enough with another card to win a lane. Because my list is so short, right? Which is good versus decks that run Sean. But no one was running Sean, right? Like if you're a Shuri deck, you don't run Sean. So I do kind of, yeah. If I was, I mentioned this before, like I just made the mistake where I didn't realize I'd be facing this many Shuris. So I should have taken if I was expecting to do better, I should have taken a deck, like more text into Shuri. Why don't they run Shang? Because they run Cosmo and Armor, right? But yeah, so we got the wave off here, and I'm like, oh wait, now we just Arrow and She-Hulk, and we always win, right? Because they can only play one card. I was thinking about the pass into She-Hulk line, um, as well, but we always lose to that, I believe, here because we were so far behind. Johnson did bring a very interesting Shuri deck with Killmonger and Shang that ran like Invisible Woman. I almost brought something similar to that. Do you guys want to see that deck list? Um, I took something a little bit weirder than that, but his was very good. I was gonna take it if I had Kitty. Did Aram get featured? I don't know. I didn't see all the featured matches, right? Because I was playing them at the same time. But yeah, so here they actually stay in, and I'm like, okay, we got 2 cubes. But yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself for not snapping earlier. But like, if you look at our board, we played Time Stone into Leech, and then Wave, right? Like, I'm like, we can't snap here. Like, he'll know we have Arrow. So I'm like, at least we'll get the 2 cubes if we don't snap. Yeah, we got the Leech off though, right, Jet? So that was my idea there. I was like, since we had the Leech, it's kind of hard for him to do multiple things. He would have to draw on exactly She-Hulk into Task, right, on the last 2 turns. Wait, here I'm counting my health. I'm like, it's round 4. We're going into high stakes. Whether or not we leave doesn't matter, right? Because either way, we have 2 lives left. And the main reason I'm thinking about this, right, is because my hand sucks. We have no stones. They had Sunspot into Lizard. We do have Lockjaw, but all my big cards are in my hand. So, yeah. Killmonger is good. Killmonger is okay. It looks better right now, Monkey Cap, because they barely got armor in this series. But yeah, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. But yeah, they sneak a She-Hulk under, and I'm like, well, we get to knock into Baxter at least. But I'm like, unless we flip like Death, and then we draw the Death, and I'm like, well, now we have like no good flips, right? What they do, sure, Redskull. I don't know, Reigns, but they need to do something, obviously, right? All right, here I'm like, well, we can wave into like 2 cards, but like, are we beating anything here? They Cosmo on Baxter, so I can't even pull anything on Baxter. I forget if I get baited into staying this game or not. It's normally a dead draw, yeah. It depends whether or not they have armor, right? It's really tough to squeeze in after turn 4. Alright, so here I'm trying to figure out how do I win with 2 cards, yeah? They can only play 1. But like, I can't win Big House, right? That's the main issue. Because I kill Sunspot, they still have 7. And I forget if I get baited because I missed the Baxter building or not. Okay, I do recognize the Baxter building here. Oh, okay, I should point something out here. Here I lose all audio to the game, and my monitor that I'm using to record bugs out. Um, so yeah, I get a little bit flustered here, and I believe I stay when I shouldn't. But yeah, here I should leave. But yeah, here I lost all audio, and my recording monitor kind of freaked out. This isn't win on board, yeah, I know. I'm saying that in the VOD, but I don't know what I'm doing. I recognize it right away. So we kill our own stones, right? But I'm too busy trying to make sure that the thing's recording and that no, it's not tilt. I'm just like did my recording save? Is the audio okay? I'm getting so I've had this happen on stream before. I'm getting all the music now into my headset that I don't like to listen to from the game. It's like blasting. Um, yeah. So I just get baited into staying. But yeah, so you see I go and I get a new headset. And that seems to fix it. I don't have game audio anymore for some reason, but it's fine. Two guys on Baxter, yeah, maybe. Here we're down to 3 life now. I'm like, we have Sakar, we have Leech and She-Hulk in hand. It might be a good snap. So we snap. But yeah, that loss was my fault. I should have left, and I should have not had technical difficulties. But yeah, it pulls Cosmo, we pull She-Hulk. I'm not too unhappy about this. We flip into Muir Island. I'm like, that's not bad, right? Now we just don't. Oh, I even lose my audio here. Oh wait, no, I don't know. I can hear it barely. Okay. But yeah, so here I just Dragonaut. I'm like, I just want to win Muir Island really hard. So we set up a Jug. And it works out pretty well. We do dodge the Cosmo here, but I'm like, yeah, it looks like he was trying to lock me out on Muir Island, right? So I'm like, okay, not bad. Is it more consistent than the wave ramp? I think so, Jet. Just because of the lockjaw stuff. The lockjaw stuff makes you have a lot more high rolls. But yeah, so we set up, we time stunt there. Because I need to win one other lane, right? I'm trying to figure out how do I win one other lane. Because we don't have a place to Shang-Chi anymore, basically. Thanos is, yeah, subjective, yeah. Yo, thank you for the follow, Fight Mace. I prefer playing Thanos, but it depends what playstyle you like, Fight Mace. Thanos is cooler. But yeah, here I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, what is the best way to win here? I'm expecting a vision, but I'm like, if it's a vision, like putting 17 mid is pretty good, right? So we stick the arrow mid. But yeah, here I think I lost. How are we doing so far? Well, we had 3 wins in a row, and then a loss, and then you'll see this game. But yeah, they end up putting Redskull there, and I'm like, rip. Yeah, I just didn't have a way to pull. Leech could be good. Yeah, it could be. But I wanted stats. But yeah, so now I'm like, how do I win? Right? We can win if they don't have task, right? Oh, right? Yeah. But like I said before, I keep thinking they're going to vision. So I'm trying to play around vision there by putting the arrow mid. But yeah, so here I'm like trying to figure out, like, are they going to give, like, whether or not I get the Titania could be the difference on the right? Or on the left. So I'm like, well, they can only ever play 1 card there, right? So they might assume that we play 1 card to try and steal it. So I'm like, we're not going to put the Doom there. Yeah, the vision causes me, like, to do a lot of bad plays here. But yeah, so they end up Polarising, giving the Titania, which does block the Doom, but we still win the workshop here. Yeah. So we do take this name. So yeah. Yeah, here I'm still complaining that my sound's not working. but it's fine. I think I might have to skip ahead. I'm trying to fix sound for like a minute. Yeah, okay. But yeah, oh yeah, I'm also counting out here that he's had Shuri like almost every game this series. So I'm like, if we can get some non-Shuri matches, we'll be in a much better spot. Yeah. Okay, Vault is good for me, right? So yeah, so I'm talking about this. I'm like, if I can win Vault, then it's really good, right? But then I'm like, oh wait, he has vision, so maybe not. Yeah, Kitty. I would get Kitty too. But yeah, so he zeroes Titania, and he gets both of them back to his hand. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, I really want Killmonger here. The only way I really get Killmonger is doing lockjaw stuff, so we decide to do some lockjaw stuff. Yeah, Kitty might not be available until like over a month from now, right? Killmonger is good. Killmonger is good if they don't get the armor off. Yeah. Yeah, I believe here, yeah, they Cosmo. Thankfully, they don't Cosmo on the lockjaw, which is really good for us. But I'm like, oh wait, they could play multiple Cosmos here. So, but I'm like, you know what? Shuffling in the deck is good anyways, right? Because most of my deck is pretty solid here. We have Shang in hand. But I'm like, we'll put Space Stone in case we need to move, right? But yeah, him having double Cosmo is very scary. You're depressed about that, yeah. My token's back, man. It was 12 Thanos? Okay. That's less than I expected, but not awful. But yeah, here we get some pretty good rolls here. And also, they Cosmoed middle, which was good for us, I believe I say. Remember tilted Cosmo on 3 getting your wave Psylocke, yeah. I mean, it's mostly you just have to guess, Jet. Right? Like, there might be some good advice for dodging it on ladder, but in tournaments, your opponents are going to think about dodging it. Yo, Foy LaCroix with another gift sub to Boomer, the bounce aficionado. Yeah, welcome to the island. And thank you, Foy LaCroix. But yeah, so here we're snapping the Killmonger. Because we know they don't have Cosmos anymore. So I'm like, okay, we're going to kill everything. If they want to get into Vault, they would have to get Vision. And we do roll Time Stone, so I'm like, oh, they can beat us in Vault with the Vision. But it is the final turn. So I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. Wait, yeah, sorry, I missed out it was the final turn. So they never beat us in Vault. Yeah. What am I talking about? I got distracted by Boomer. But yeah, now we always win here, right? I'm like, they can play one card. Oh wait, you know what happens here? Wave didn't come this turn, right? Wave was from last turn. Okay, so here I'm thinking they Shuri, right? They have a Titania in hand, right? From earlier when they went 0 Titania on bats. I'm like, the best play for them is probably to split their power by Shuring the Titania and playing a big Redskull, right? So here's, it's a 50-50, right? They can either split or they can go onto one lane, right? I never win if they go onto one lane. And I'm looking, I'm like, what are the odds? Like they go middle versus right. And I'm like, it's literally a mirror lane, right? So it's a 50-50. Yeah, Moyen took first, yeah. Moyen's nutty at this game. But yeah, so here you see I'm thinking, but honestly, I should have just flipped a coin. What if they go in one lane through their Shuri? Right, we're going up 24. If they Shuri, Redskull. Oh wait, I did do the math. I hear myself, yeah. But if they go Redskull and Titania, we lose, right? That's 30 power. We're only going to 24. Plus 3, 27. We lose to Redskull Titania, right? All right, so yeah, let's count, right? Let me make sure I'm doing the math right. I think I did it there, but let's count, right? So if they Shuri the Redskull, they get 26 plus 5, right? Which is 34 with the Cosmo, which beats us, right? We'll only go to 26. Is it better to split here? If we split, we lose, right? When's my next tournament? I don't know how many tournaments I'm gonna do, Raj. I don't like doing tournaments. But yeah. So it was just a question of are they gonna go all in on one lane, or are they gonna split? So we just went in all in on one lane. Like, it's a 50-50 of a 50-50. If they go the other way, we win tiebreaker. Yeah, if they ever split, we win tiebreaker, yeah. So that's why I decided to go in one lane. I'm like, most likely they're going to split, and no matter how they split, we win. Yeah. Maybe I should play the live audio for you guys, but I can't. It has the music on it. But yeah, we as long as they split, we're fine. But if they go all in, but yeah, it's a 50-50 on like, do I split versus do they split, right? But yeah, so now it's final game for them, and I have 2 games, right? And I'm like, oh, Quantum Realm's really good. But yeah, so they're on 2 cubes, we're on 3. There's no game sound. Yeah, I can't do any. I also did not have game sound here. I brought this up earlier. So it's not just you guys. Would I try commentating? I'd be down to commentate, Ista. I just don't think I'm well known enough. But we'll see. I might reach out. Maybe if D-Money does something. You could see morning. I mean, you can see here. This is me all red. Also, I made a huge mistake as well as far as prep went. I didn't wake up early enough to be able to make myself breakfast. So as the tournament went on, I didn't really feel it because I think I had a lot of adrenaline, but I was very hungry at the end. I look at minutes when yeah, I was pretty focused. But yeah, so here I'm like, Quantum Realm's really good. They can task on the realm, but as long as we get something big, we're okay. And we absolutely whiff. And I'm like, rip. I'm like, well, Quantum Realm's gonna be hard to win now. But we did get the wave, which is nice. I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how we win here. I'm like, do we doom? Because if we doom, he can win Quantum Realm really easily. If we play a big thing on Isle of Silence, I'm like, he doesn't have Shang, so maybe we can contest. But then they vision, and I'm like, where's the vision going? Does the vision move to try and win Quantum Realm or not? And then I'm trying to think too, like, can I even win Isle of Silence? But yeah. And that end my stomach. Fair. They only win Quantum of Vision? Yeah. Okay. Do you guys want to take a prediction here? Let's do a 30-second prediction. I'm curious on this. What you guys think he's going to do. He can also win middle with Taskmaster, right? I'm curious if you guys think he moves the vision or not. Who is this next? So, right. So he can put 14 potentially mid by moving vision and playing Taskmaster, right? The other option he has is just play a big thing out of Isle of Silence. We're pretty much never winning Sacred Timeline. But yeah, you guys can predict. We just did a quick one. All right, y'all are pretty big brain here. He leaves it. 2. All right, we had like that was too quick, but it's fine. One person will get their points back. He leaves it, but you can't predict. Oh yeah, you guys can't predict. I forget. But yeah, so I'm thinking that he's gonna move it, and just hope that we low roll a stone. Because I'm thinking we don't win Isle of Silence anyways. And I was right, we don't win Isles anyways. So, get knocked out. But, yeah. So, we... oh, wait, we have one more game. Okay, but yeah. So, I was looking at my hand, I'm like... We had Prio. It's Isle of Silence. Like, we always lose to just Redskull. If he doesn't move. I was just counting on him moving. Or playing like task plus something here, right? I don't know. We lose to a lot here. I bet leaves. He leaves. You can't leave. So that's something to note here. We're in the last game, so you can't leave anymore. Right? It doesn't matter if you leave or stay. I was at 3 health, he was at 2. So now it's the last game. Def on left to make them take prio. Yeah, that was the thought. No, that's something I was thinking about after. I was like, versus Shuri, I should probably be letting them take prio more often. I don't know. I did like matches before, and usually when I let them take prio, I was having trouble. Yeah, I just don't have enough stats. Right? Like, even if I give... Yeah, I just don't have stats to contest lanes. Yep. That is a good call. But yeah, so now it's just the last game. I'm like, Lechugia, Jotunheim. I'm like, if I don't get Killmonger, we're just losing, right? I see the Sunspot. I'm like, ugh. Oh, some of you got ads. Let me pause for the ads real quick, since it's the final game. Yeah, but since it's a final game, I want to anyone who's watching to see the final game. New stats, yeah. I was having such a hard time deciding if I should bring this list or just a Shuri list because of the Kitty change. Like, if I had Kitty, bring this list would have been a lot easier. It was really rough for me to try and bring this without Kitty. You don't want to talk about lists? What did you play, Big C? Didn't you play Shuri too? I don't know. I feel like everyone played Shuri. You don't get ads? Oh, you played C3. Oh, you played... You played the other C3, right? Because didn't Les also bring C3? Oh, you wanted Galactus? Oh, were you just unable to change it in time? When did you try and change it? You could have changed it up until like this morning. All right, we got like 30 seconds for ads. Yeah, here we draw the Killmonger. I'm like, okay, maybe we have a chance, right? If I draw a death, we have the wave. We can do some stuff here. We want some spot on Kitty, yeah. Yeah, site was pretty buggy. Even on desktop. But yeah, oh yeah, I can imagine using it on mobile. You're welcome on Shuri's, yeah. I would have brought an anti-Shuri Thanos list mock cap, but I don't have Valkyrie, and you really need Valkyrie to make those anti-Shuri list. So I brought this. I was like, you know what? As long as we don't get into Shuri matchups, I thought the Shuri... Okay, I'll be honest. I thought the Shuri matchups would be much worse than this. I was like, Shuri's dumpsters is decked pretty hard. But I did manage to keep these all very close. So yeah, this is final game. for all the marbles. We draw the Killmonger. I'm like, okay, might be able to do something with the wave. But I don't like my hand that much right now. We have Prio, so I'm like, they can't Cosmo me here. But they could, even if they Cosmo after, I'm like, if they Cosmo after, then we can't even jug them. So I'm like, I'm not sure what the best thing to do there is here. But they pass, so this is good for us. You need to practice. I can play Shuri Jet if you need to practice versus Shuri. I'm pretty solid at Shuri. But yeah, so I'm thinking about jug here. I just want to put stats on the board. Yeah. So we do manage to hit something. I'm like, if we hit into Jotunheim, I'm pretty happy. We went to Lushigia. But yeah, so now I'm like, oof. Well, we can arrow. So I'm like, okay, we can arrow them out of vault, right? And we win vault that way as long as it's not vision. So yeah, we've talked about this a while. I'm like, if it's not vision, we win vault. But that's the only play we have, right? And then I'm thinking whether or not I should try and gain prio here. But then I'm like, well, we're not gaining prio either way. But I might as well give myself a small chance by playing into Lushigia, right? Maybe they go small ball here to play around the arrow. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know. There's no way I get prio here is what I determined. I was thinking if it was possible, but I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, they get the Redskull off, but I'm like, okay, we beat Taskmaster. Maybe there's a way I win here, but I'm like, I can't even win left. So I'm like, the only way I win here is if he just Taskmasters left, right? But that's the only play I have, right? It's just Sean. The other play I had was Thanos left, but I'm like, that loses to so much more. Wasp Psylocke. Ooh, I like that. I don't know if you need the Wasp or the Venom. They can armor? Yeah, they have prio, but this is the last game, Monk. I have to stay. The only way I win is if they don't have Cosmo or armor, right? There's no other play I have that beats what they do, right? If 9 power here is almost never enough to win, right? I have to stay. It's the last game. I know they have all these things that beat us. But they also have to play around us putting enough power in Jotunheim. Right? So I'm thinking like, maybe they'll just stick some power in Jotunheim, right? If they go for the classic Taskmaster, they can definitely lose. But yeah, they end up doing the smart thing, right? I mean, it's just they had the cards, right? But like they passed on 3, so I'm like, it's not too likely. But it doesn't matter, right? It's the last game. And they have the Cosmo and the Titania. And then I'm like, well, I guess I could have Thanos on Jotunheim. But I'm like, that's such a hard call to make, to go for the Thanos on Jotunheim. But yeah, so I'm looking here. I'm like, Thanos left would have been a play. But like my thought process for the Shang was like, they didn't play Cosmo on 3, so they only had 3 draws at it. So it's really just a 50-50, yeah, on whether or not they drew it and where they would play, right? Like, would they put enough power in Jotunheim versus not? So, but yeah, that's generally how, like, if you've been watching this, right, that's how the Shuri games have been going. It's 50-50s. Do we Shang or do we play a big card? And we lost too many of them in this matchup, right? But we brought them down to one game, right? But yeah, so at this point I'm like, well, we're 3-2. I have to win out to win. Maybe since we lost 2 games in a row, I'll get a non-Shuri, right? Because in Swiss you get matched up based off of your matchup. Yeah, it becomes rock paper scissors. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get a non-Shuri. You know, they're 3-2. If they lost 2 games, it's probably not a Shuri game, right? And then I look at the list. It's the same exact Shuri deck, card for card, with Vision over the Marvel. And yeah, so we're playing Evazord or something like that. I don't know. Is it right to take those 50-50s? Yeah, you probably should snap those 50-50s versus Shuri. Because generally you don't get much better than that, right? That was something I mentioned when I was looking at Cam's chat. You usually don't get better than a 50-50 versus Shuri, right? Unless they super low roll or you super high roll. So usually, I mean, in general, you snap on 50-50s, but yeah. So I'm tired. We just played two almost 40-minute games back to back versus Shuri. And then I look at this guy's deck list, and I'm like, it's the same exact deck list. And so I'm already a little bit tilted, but we do take them for a ride. Why is there a mushroom in the rock? I don't see a mushroom. But yeah, so we get Vault already, and I'm like, oh yeah, Vault's pretty good, but we have no stones. So I'm like, well, this doesn't look the best. I'm like, I like Vault, I don't like no stones. And I was like, okay, Nidavellir is not terrible. They armor Nidavellir, and I'm like, okay, well, we put Power Stone there, so generally Power Stone's the one that I would want to survive if I had to choose. But I'm like, I need some stones here. Titan flips, and I'm like, okay. Well, Titan flips means I can just get out a She-Hulk really early. And yeah, so they go for Zero Lizard. We go for our She-Hulk. And then I'm like, okay, maybe She-Hulk Juggernaut is enough. Or I can just go for like a 5-drop, right? I can go Dr. Doom plus something. I'm like, I have a few options here. Titan's good. They go for Polaris. I'm like, okay, sure. Did I get Valkyrie? No. I'm not opening caches now because I got Super Scroll. But yeah, so now I'm like, okay, if they don't have Vision, Juggernaut could be enough here. I don't know why I'm putting Soulstone right. I should put Soulstone left. Because, yeah, I might make a misplay here. I don't know if I take this back. Because Vision would still tie, right? And I never win Nidavellir. So I should put Juggernaut and Soulstone. Oh, I just go for Dr. Doom. Okay. Okay, I guess, yeah, since they don't have Shuri, I'm trying to threaten all the lanes here. Okay, that's what it looks like. I'm trying to threaten all 3 lanes. Okay, nice. So yeah, so I'm like, they don't play for the vault because we have the Jug and the arrow. But now I'm like, well, what do we do now? Because they're going to play Taskmaster plus a 1-drop. I'm trying to find a way to beat that. So I'm doing some math here. But I'm thinking to myself, well, they would have to top deck the Titania because otherwise they would have played Titania out with a 0 over the Lizard. So they had 3 draws at it. And I'm like, Jug doesn't do it because Jug could lead us to lose the vault. Sure, you shouldn't take 50-50s. I mean, in general, they should. It depends. If they think they have a 75% win percentage, they shouldn't take 50-50s, yeah. But, yeah. But yeah, so here I'm like, well, the only way I win is if we just put enough power. Like, I'm like, if they don't have Taskmaster, that's the way we win, right? Arrow. But yeah, they do have the Taskmaster, so we lose. By 2. Drug made with 2 stones. That is a play line I didn't consider. Okay, drug made with 2 stones. What does that do? So Soulstone brings them down to 33. 31. Both stones are 6 and drug is 8. So we get 20. We go up to 31. They're also at 31, right? Oh no, we go up to 34 and they're at 31. Oh, that's a good play, Bolo Solo. I didn't see that play. That's where Dino wrecked them? Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was thinking about that like all day today. I'm like, why don't I have a dinosaur in this deck? I'm like, there's so many spots where Shuri beat me without the Shuri that I'm like, I thought I won those, but like, not with this deck, with the original Thanos deck. But yeah, that's a really good call from Bolo Solo. I could have gone for the Jug mid and 2 stones, and we'd win by 3 points. That's a really good read, right? Because usually they play a 1-drop, so even if it went vault, we would win. Yeah, this list doesn't run dinosaur. The idea is that this list dodges Shang-Chi, so it's better in the Thanos mirror, right? This list is significantly better in Thanos mirror. But yeah, double stone drug mid. Wow, I did not think about that play line. That would have been the play. Good call, good call. Because it's Nevadillier, yeah. Yeah, I roped it all the way down to the end there. But I didn't see that one, yeah. That is a good read. Okay, that's the first one where I'm like, that's just a blatant mistake. That was a mistake, yeah. Good call. All the other, there's a lot more where I was like, that's not really a mistake because there's a few options, but that would be always winning, right? But yeah, so we decided to play it out for 2 cubes since they didn't snap, right? So my methodology going to this tournament was that I get 1 free retreat and 1 free stay in before the high stakes. So I wasn't too upset about that stay. But yeah, well now I am because I'm like I could have won. but yeah. That was a good call. But yeah, here we got stone on turn 2. I'm like, okay. Well, Murder World is not bad because we have death. Space Stone is okay, but I'm like, we have so many big things in our hand. I'm like, it's kind of awkward. But we do get to play Shield next turn, so I'm like, it's not the worst. Just go full aggro. Yeah, that's fair drawing. But yeah, flips an Ice Match, and I'm like, oh, that's nothing. And then I'm just trying to figure out where to put the Shield. And I decided to put on Xandar just to threaten the Lizard a little bit more. Or do I not? Do I put it mid? Brain did not awake. Yeah. I mean, I should. Yeah, I was also just woken up. I mean, by this game, I'm pretty awake. But also by this game, I'm very hungry and very tired. I just played 2 back-to-back Shuri games for the past hour that I lost on like the last match. So I definitely was not playing at my best in this particular match. I also think I'm pretty much out of the tournament, right? Pretty much only like 1 or 2 top 5 players make it, or 5 and 2 players make it. So even if I won out, I probably wouldn't have made it. But yeah, so I arrow, they pass. I'm like, what are they doing? It has to be like She-Hulk task, right? So I'm trying to see what playline beats She-Hulk task here. I'm like, Odin on the arrow? But I'm like, we might just lose Xandar then. So I'm doing some Lizard math here. You're the only 5 and 2 player that made it? Nice try. Yeah, so it was even less than I thought. Only 1 5 and 2 player made it. But yeah, so I'm basically just playing this for fun. I decided to leave because we can't beat She-Hulk task. And we don't beat She-Hulk Redskull either. Like, we just don't beat She-Hulk plus anything else. Do I think Cerebro Valk is good to beat Shuri decks? No. I think Valk is fine versus Shuri, but Valk increases your win rate from like 0% or like 20% for most deck to like 30%. You'll be back later when you wake up. Yeah, no problem, Big Z. Get some food. Am I doing missions after review? Yeah. Yeah, by the time this game is done, it'll be the reset, right? Okay, it rolls Project Pegasus, and I'm like, okay, I should snap now, right? We always do more with our mana than, yeah, Valk doesn't beat Cosmo, that's the issue, right? Than our opponent. So I should snap here. But my hand is also really awkward. So 5-2s have a good chance, yeah. I mean, that's why I'm playing this game, right? Otherwise, I would have left. But I leave after this game. Yeah. Yeah, but I would have brought a Valk list if I owned Valkyrie. Yeah. If I won, I would have stayed join. But I didn't win. Yeah, I'm gonna finish out Raj my games for sure. This is the last one, and then I need to do quest, and then I'm probably gonna call it. But yeah, so here it rolls Elysium. We have to snap, right? What kind of Thanos gamer doesn't snap on Elysium with Lockjaw? I'm like, we don't have that many stones, but like the odds of us not drawing more is so low. If we're not winning a game, it's this one, and then it rolls Space Throne. And I'm getting a little bit tilted here. You can't hear me, but I can hear it in my voice. There's a lot of bad rules for the Lockjaw, but that was one of the worst because any death stuff would have been fine for us, right? And we only put one stone, so even Lumeria is okay. So I'm like, well, we auto lose there, but he didn't. Oh, does he snap back? Oh, he snaps back, yeah. So now I'm like, man, we're gonna be so far behind if I leave, but also like, how do I ever win here? So I'm just trying to think what my outs are. But I'm just thinking like being down 5-10, do you ever win from that situation? So I think I stay. Yeah. So I stay here. And then they Shuri. And now I'm thinking like, wow, I wish I didn't kill Killmonger because they would have clogged up their lizard lane. I could have somehow won that way. But then we pull the death, and I'm like, okay, death is not too bad. Let's do some wave stuff. It's turn 5, right? If I can set up like a wave plus 2 cards, because I get to turn off Elysium, right? So I'm like, they can only play 1 card here, and I can play death plus something. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to be said here. They pass, which means they can still She-Hulk task, right? But we get to reality again here, and reality is a little bit better here, right? Because okay, well they pass. Actually, why did they pass? This I'm unsure by. Because at first I'm thinking they're in a She-Hulk task, but they already played their She-Hulk on turn 1. So I'm very confused here on what they have in their hand. I assume they're just looking for something big enough. So what my conclusion was is that they were waiting to 1, either bait me into staying, or 2, just get something big enough in their hand where they would win another lane, right? Since they already won Space Throne. And then Quantum Realm means that they can't play that big thing there, right? They just don't want Pariah. Well, okay, then they made a mistake here, because now they can't play into Quantum Realm. So now I'm thinking like Titania plus Taskmaster could do it. But I'm just like, I'm just confused, yeah. But I'm like, I don't really have much of a play here, right? I have priority, so Sean is useless. So I'm like, it's just Death and Thanos, right? Left, and if that's enough, then we're good. But the Quantum Realm, I was like, okay, like, yeah. They can't win Quantum Realm ever unless they have tasks. So We just have to hope they don't have task here, right? And I'm just like, do I retreat here? Do I stay? And I'm like, they have She-Hulk mid. They might not have the task stuff, so we play it out. And we win, because we beat Redskull. So. Yeah. Basically, it came down to, I was like, I beat anything except Titania Taskmaster. Yeah, this is a good win, yeah. But I wish I could say it was enough. It was a good win because we low rolled. So I was like, okay, you know what? One of these games they're not going to have Shuri. Reality from worst to best, yeah. I mean, Vault would have been the best, right? Something that actually stops them from playing. Okay, Sanctum, I'm like, okay, Sanctum usually is good, but you'll see this game gets kind of weird. Because they can only vision there. But then Nexus flips up. And now I'm just confused, right? Because Nexus isn't necessarily bad for us because we have the wave arrow stuff. But also, like, if they just put one big thing, that's bigger than anything we can put there, right? Which is, yeah, it brings us back to, like, why is there no dinosaur that I have? Like, why do I not have the dinosaur? But yeah, we decide to Juggernaut to play around the Cosmo. So yeah, this is why I like Jug, like, a lot in this matchup. Because then we wouldn't be able to turn off the Nexus. Here I'm like, okay, I can at least turn off the Nexus now. But now I'm like, okay, is there a way that we can win the Nexus, right? I can Odin the Jug on the last turn, possibly. But don't I lose Sanctum? To Vision, yeah. But I have a Lockjaw here, and I also have Odin for the Nexus. So as long as they can't get power, like enough huge power into Kunlun and Sanctum, we're okay. I don't know. This might have been a bad snap. But yeah, I'm just hoping that I can... Yeah, they have the Shuri, and I'm like, well, that might have been awful snap. We can arrow them off of Nexus, and then Odin. So that's my plan here. But yeah, we'll see if this works out or not. I don't believe it does. But yeah, they have vision. And I'm like, even if we play the Odin on the Juggernaut, we still lose. So I have a 0% to win. Because I was like, I could make it a 50-50, right? If they played Redskull into Task, the Task could go into Cosmo. But, yeah, we didn't even get the 50-50 because the vision. So we retreat. He's not the 3 cubes. I mean, we bring him down more than 3 cubes. But yeah, I was like, well, vision is just too good, man. It beats out my arrow and my Juggernaut. And yeah, since we flipped the Sean too, Sean was a bad flip. We had no counterplay, right? Did I play against Moyen? No. I would have loved to play against Moyen. I didn't play against anybody that I knew besides Reigns. And I guess Georgo was in chat, but I didn't know him before. Was that high stakes? No. Now we're entering high stakes. So we snap because I like pulling out Leech or Doctor Doom, right? And I was like 50-50 Leech or Doctor Doom is pretty good. But we only hit 2 cards, so I was like, it's fine. He's too good. He 10-0'd you twice. Yeah, I almost played Tyranitar. But yeah, I was like, okay, now their She-Hulk's not protected. If I can get out early enough. So I should have played Mindstone mid here. I misplayed that for sure. Do I play mid now? But yeah, then we roll Subterranean. I'm like, I'm entirely reliant on being able to get out a Shang at some point. If I leave, it's quite good, yeah. I think when you're ahead, as far as I am, you need to snap when you're even slightly favored, right? To force it to be a one game. Like, you're basically just trying to force it to be a one game ending. Because for me, no matter what, I'm going to play like 2 or 3 games. So yeah, he passed here, and I'm like, okay, that's really good. So he doesn't have Cosmo or armor, right? If he just passed. Like, otherwise he would have armored his Sunspot. But guess what he top decked? He top decked the armor. So yeah, that was basically the end of it for me. So through the Subterranea, he managed to hit a 10%er. So I was like, well, you know what? If he hit that 10%er, it's Lockjaw time. Maybe Lockjaw saves us. I don't know. But we have Subterranea, so it's just rough. But it's the last game. Or, like, it's 3 cubes now, so it doesn't matter if I stay or leave, right? So I might as well stay to see if I have the chance. But yeah, he has the Redskull. The Redskull was off the top as well, if you noticed. It didn't have the leech effect. And then we just roll into some rocks. And we hit District X. Which wasn't necessarily bad here. But we hit Reality Stone after. But yeah, so now we have no way to win, right? I'm looking to see. The only way we win is if we flip something crazy off of Lockjaw. But I was like, the odds of hitting something with 5 or more power off of Lockjaw is like pretty unlikely. So I decided to Doctor Doom instead. Like I said, we have to stay. I would leave here if it made a difference, but it doesn't make a difference, right? Because it's always 3 cubes. So yeah, we just go. And then he had the Vision and the Mantis, and that was just enough to win every lane. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Every card that he drew was top decked, right? The only thing we hit was the Vision. The armor top deck was really rough. But yeah, so now we're into my potential last game, but he still has 2 games here. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I'd love to play against Moyen, even though I know I'd get wrecked. Moyen is a machine. I was hoping to play Johnson too. Johnson had a deck that I was considering bring. I just couldn't refine it enough to bring it. But yeah, so they have Sunspot armor here. I'm already like, oh, that's annoying. But then Dream Dimension flips, and I'm like, okay, maybe we can play through it. Because they can't, yeah, sure. But like, I mean, you have to. I have to stay, right? It's for my life here. But yeah, so here I'm like, I'm gonna flip something to Lockjaw. I want to kill off some stones, right? I'm debating if I should kill off power or not. But I don't need to, right? I only need 2 stones to kill, and then that's enough to get a cheap enough death with the wave. Just to make them think, yeah. That's why I like Juggernaut. Juggernaut makes people think. But yeah, so we get a really good pull here. I'm like, okay, now we get all of this. Their Shuri is not going to be that good here. But like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I'm like, we don't have death. So wave is not the best. Wave sets them up for an easier Shulk game. Arrow left. Maybe, yeah. And hope that they just never have enough power to win other lanes. I think we still would have lost to the Vision, though. Yeah, I mean, Jug is for jugging their Cosmo. Or jugging them into Cosmo, right? The Taskmaster. But yeah, I just decide to wave. I'm like, if they have the She-Hulk task, that sucks, but like I just need to get some better stuff out of Lockjaw, right? And we do hit the She-Hulk here, but because of Dream Dimension, it's not cheap enough to play. But we do, but then we top deck the Death. That's a huge part. We should just deem each other for clogging up. Which chat? I thought we were DMing on Discord. Oh, you mean Raj? Yeah. If you're sending each other codes and stuff, yeah. But yeah, so here I'm like trying to figure out if I should Arrow versus Juggernaut versus what. Like I'm trying to beat She-Hulk plus something here, right? And there's a lot of different pure mutations depending on how much he reads into this. And so I'm trying to see, mainly what I'm trying to see is if Death is enough to win a lane, but it's not. Death only ties me the lane versus one of the She-Hulks. Yeah, is that usually use? Yeah. But yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out, because it depends on like, do they play around the Arrow? Do they play around the Jug? But yeah, so I just decided to Jug mid and Death. And it turns out they didn't have a... They go for a different play. They go for the Soak on the Sunspot. But it's not enough for them. So yeah. I don't know if they miscounted the Attilan, but either way we would have won, even if they won. Yeah, they did a lot of good plays, like, but some of it backfired, right? But yeah, when you're forced to stay in, like, those are where you get the best games, usually. Alright, here Wakanda flips, and I'm like, free armor? That's really bad for me. But we draw the Time Stone and the Lockjaw, so I'm like, okay, there's some chance if we can put something big enough into the Wakanda to challenge them, we can be pretty happy. Iceman, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't fit into this deck either. That's how a Boomer, I'm pretty sure, beat a lot of Shuris. Putting them off of curve is very strong. But yeah, so they armor the Raptors to play around the Death. I think they'll be a lot more aware of the Death. I think they weren't expecting the Death last game. To like me just go Death plus something. But yeah, we didn't draw another stone, so I'm pretty unhappy. We have Shang, but nowhere to Shang, basically. So I'm trying to think, like, how do we win here? And destroys Wakanda, so I'm like, okay, we can Shang Wakanda now. The only place we can't Shang is Savage Land, and it's turn 4. So I'm thinking they're going to play Shuri here, right? Or they're going to play multiple things. And if they play multiple things, I really want to Chug, right? Or if they Shuri, I want to Chug for the chance it goes into Savage Land. And that's how we win. So I end up Chugging here. How does Wave into Iceman? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't help. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm trying to decide where the Jug goes. And I'm like, it's a 50-50 on like, it's two 50-50s, right? And I miss the 50-50. And it hits Monster, and I'm like, ooh, Monster is not good. But yeah, I was trying to Jug the Shuri or anything else they played into Savage Land, but we missed it. We draw the wave, so I'm thinking about the She-Hulk wave stuff. But I'm like, that's just not going to be enough versus a big Shuri thing middle. So maybe I should Leech and deny the Taskmaster. But that's where the Dino thing comes again, where like even if I Leech, we just don't get big enough in Monster Metropolis, right? Yeah, I think I end up leeching here. But like we never get big enough is the issue. Here I'm like, I'm gonna leech mid. Maybe they don't have like Redskull. It could make a difference. I don't know. Like we're never winning mid anyway, so. Yeah, so I went for the leech. And they played the Redskull. Wait, they have 2 back-to-back hot locations? Is that a thing? But yeah, so we leech. So what it came down to, I was like, well, leech is either gonna hit Shiok and Taskmaster, or it's gonna hit just Taskmaster, right? So I was like, okay, it's probably better than the wave, but it just was not enough, right? I just don't beat them in Monster Metropolis unless I hit exactly arrow, maybe. Yeah, maybe Jet. I don't know. I don't know what you need. It's just too difficult to beat Shuri, I think. But yeah, so I go for the wave here. Just to try and shuffle some stuff. Like, I just need to draw a right arrow to have a chance. Maybe. And then somehow win, right? I mean, it's the last game. I don't have any other play. They're never not playing for Monster Metropolis, right? Because, right, they'd rather take something from my deck than not. And we end up killing our stones, too. So, yeah, I already know that I lost. But yeah, so if we had arrow there, we could have... Actually, wait, let's think. So we had 2 stones, so we're at 4. They would have been at 1, 4, so 5 plus 6, 10. Yeah, so we won if we got arrow there. So we had a 20% for the arrow. Yeah, it was just lots of 50-50 games, Jet, right? You saw, we brought the last 2 Shuri games to 1 game, right? As Space Stone, right? That, like, effect. But I think I played Space Stone.